I got caught hacking my teacher and accidentally became the school legend. I really needed to pass a history test in high school, but as usual, I waited until the night before to study. I stayed up pretty much the entire night memorizing everything, but the next day, as soon as I got my test, I didn't know anything on it. That's when I realized I had accidentally studied for the wrong test. I started to panic, but luckily for me, I sat next to a girl who I knew was really smart. I made sure nobody was looking and tried very discreetly looking over at her test. I started to copy her answers, and I thought I was the sneakiest guy in the world. Everything was going perfectly until I looked up and saw my teacher staring directly at me. I knew he saw everything, so I tried to just avoid eye contact when I handed my test in. But as I did, he asked me to stay after class. I knew I had no other option but to beg him to forgive me, and explained I had studied the wrong chapter. He knew I was going to fail the class, so he agreed to let it slide if I studied with him for the end-of-year exam 2 weeks away. I agreed, but on my first day there, I noticed something strange. Every time he'd leave the room, he left his grading sheet open on his laptop. I knew I couldn't bring myself to do anything with it, but over the next few weeks, I couldn't stop thinking how easy it would be to just adjust my grades slightly, so I no longer had to get an A on the final exam to pass his class. The exam was the next day, and I knew I wasn't on track to pass. He got up and left the room, and it was literally just me, his laptop, and my grades. I stared at it for a second and figured it was now or never. I went on the laptop and started trying to find my test grades for that year. I could feel my heart racing as he could come back and see me any second. Sweat was literally dripping off my face as I was trying to find my class. I found it and started to change the numbers of my test marks. The laptop was really old and slow, so it had to load every time I changed something. I was almost done when I heard his voice from down the hall. I knew I was running out of time, and as he got closer, I realized I wouldn't make it. I knew he'd for sure notice I was on it, so I panicked and did the only thing I could think of. I started trying to turn the computer off and force closed everything he had open. I was out of breath when he walked back in, and I played it off so well, he had no idea what I had done. The next day, I went to school ready to fail, but heard an announcement that the exams were being delayed. I didn't think anything of it until I heard from another teacher that their grading system crashed and they couldn't get on it. Everyone was happy the tests were delayed, but when it hit me that this was my doing, I started freaking out inside. They ended up delaying the tests by a week, but eventually when they got back onto the system, they saw everyone had their grades deleted except me. It didn't take them long to figure out it was my fault, and when my history teacher found out, he wanted me expelled. I somehow got away with only having to repeat that class along with some detention. However, word got around that I was the one who delayed the exams, and the first day back at school, everyone started chanting my name when they saw me. My history teacher gave me a death stare every time I passed him, but I became such a legend at my school, I ended up being voted prom king. When I was up on that stage, I saw my history teacher staring at me again. The look on his face was priceless.